Okay, let's talk about how we write a line equation. The first thing you need to know is that to write an equation of a line, you have to have two things. All right, you must have two items. Well, what are these two items? Well, they could be 2 points, all right, or 2 points that are on the line, or you could have 1 point and the slope. All right, so let's start with the 2 points. Let's say that I have these 2 points. So we're going to write the line equation for the line containing, now I'm just going to make 2 points up, all right? Let's say -3, 2, and 1, 6, all right? We want to write the line equation for the line that contains these 2 points. Okay, now the second thing you need to know when you're writing line equations is that there's really 4 different types of line equations, but we're really only going to concern ourselves mostly with these 3 types. All right, the first type is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. This is a form of a line equation. It contains the point x1, y1, which can be any point on that line, and it contains the slope. So this form of a line equation is called the point-slope form of a line equation. Now there's a second form of a line equation. This one is very popular. It has the slope in it, and it has this number right here, which is called the y-intercept. Now, we're not going to really talk about this equation in this video until the very end. This tends to be the most popular line equation, but all of these are useful in their own way. This one is called the point, because you do have the y-intercept, which is a point, slope form of, this one's the point slope. This is called the y-intercept because your point is the y-intercept. So this one is called the slope-intercept form of a line equation. All right, and then the last form looks like this: ax plus by equals c. It has no information particular to your line in it. It's the standard form or the general form of a line equation. When you're writing a line equation, you can take your 2 points and you can start with this form, or you can take your 2 points and you can start with this form, but you can't take your 2 points and start here. We have to get our line equation in this form after we've already obtained it in one of the other 2 forms. So if you want your line equation to be in standard form, you have to start in one of these other 2 places first. Now, my personal preference is to start with this first one, especially with these points right here, because neither of those points is the y-intercept. Now, how do I know that? Don't forget that a y-intercept is where your line crosses the y-axis, all right? This is a y-intercept. If a curve crosses a y-axis, then it has a y-intercept. And if you look at the coordinates of this point, I may not know what that y value is, but I know that the x value of that point is 0. So I don't really know what the y value is, but that point is going to have a coordinate that looks like 0 something. Y-intercepts always look like this. Well, I don't have a point with 0 in for x, so I don't have the y-intercept. So it doesn't really make good sense to start here. I'm going to start here. All right, well, the first thing I need to do, if I'm going to write a line equation and I'm going to start here, I've got 1 point. In fact, I've got 2, but I don't have my slope, so I need to find my slope. All right, well, we remember that the slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So I'm just going to plug these numbers in to get my slope. Now, I'll say this is x1, y1, and x2, y2, but you can do it the other way. So 6 minus 2, my y's go on top. 1 minus negative 3, my x's go on the bottom. 6 minus 2 is 4. 1 plus 3 is 4. My slope is 1. All right? Now I'm going to plug these into this first form of a line equation, my point-slope form. All right, y minus, now I'm going to pick one of my points to use in this equation. Let's just pick the 1, 6. Let's pick that point. I don't need both of them. I just need one of them. Either one of them will do. So y minus 6, put the 6 in for y1, equals, and then my slope is 1 times x minus, and then this one right here. So I now have a line equation. It's written in point-slope form for my line. Well, let's suppose that I really want that line equation to be in one of these other forms. How do I do that? Well, to get this line equation to look like either of these, the first step I would need to do is to multiply that out. So really y minus 6 equals 1 times x minus 1, so that's just x minus 1. Now, if I want the line equation in slope-intercept form, I'm just going to move the 6 over. So I have y equals x plus 5. Now my equation is in slope-intercept form. All right, well, let's suppose, though, that we wanted it in standard form. How would we have done that? All right, well, here's my line equation again. If I want it in standard form, well, standard form says that my x's and y's have to be on the same side of the equal sign. Now, in your text, this constant may also need to be over here, and you would have 0 over here. It doesn't really matter. It's just a form. We're going to do it this way, where our constant is on the other side of the equal sign. All right, but I do need my x's and y's on the same side. So I could either move the y over here or move the x over here. It doesn't matter, all right? I'm going to move my x over here. So I've got minus x plus y minus 6 equals negative 1. So I just move my x over. Now my x and y are on the same side, but I need to get my numbers on this side. So I need to move my 6. All right? And my final answer would be negative x plus y equals 5. So here's the standard form of the same line. So here's the standard form of my line equation. Here's the slope-intercept form of my line equation. And here's the original point-slope form. All of these represent the same line. Now remember, I started writing this line equation with this first line equation because I had 2 points. All right, let's have a different scenario here, right? Let's suppose that instead of being given 2 points, let's suppose that I'm given the slope and 1 point, because you can also write a line equation if you are given a slope and 1 point. I've kind of erased my stuff here. Put this back up here. All right, so now we want to write an equation of the line whose slope is 2/3 and contains, the line contains, all right. This time let's say the line contains the point 50. All right, now I just made that up. Yeah, I just picked this. Okay, but I'm given a point 50. Okay, let's make sure we can see that really well. Okay, and my slope of 2/3. Well, this is not the y-intercept. Remember, your y-intercept always has a 0 in the x-coordinates position. This is not the y-intercept. In fact, this is the x-intercept. Not that that matters, but that's what it is. If I want to write an equation of a line with a slope and a point, I'm really set up to use that first equation now. I just put those in. to these places, and I'm done. Y minus y1, well, that's 0, equals 2/3 times x minus 5. And there's my line equation. And all I did is put my point and my slope in there. Again, if I want it to be in slope-intercept form, well, y minus 0 equals 2/3 x minus 5. First of all, I don't need the 0. I would just multiply the 2/3 times this. So y equals, and I have 2/3 x. Now 2/3 times negative 5 is negative 10/3. So now I have my line equation in slope-intercept form. If I wanted it in standard form, then y minus 0 equals 2/3 x minus 5. Here again, I multiply through just like last time. So y equals 2/3 x minus 10/3. Now, what I might do here is multiply everybody by 3 to get rid of those fractions, just because I don't like them. Now, you don't have to do that. I just want you to see what some books do, okay? And now remember, standard form has the x's and the y's on the same side. So I'll move my 2x over. And so I have, well, let's put it in this order. Negative 2x plus 3y equals negative 10. So I now have my line equation in standard form, I have it in slope-intercept form, and I have it in point-slope form. Remember, all three of these are line equations for the same line.